Okay, folks, so we are live, and welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I will be your friendly Fate Weaver today, because today we are doing another character generation session with Ryan Vernier's outstanding Blackbirds. Oh, I'll lift it up here. Wow, Blackbirds, a Gothic Fantasy RPG. And with me tonight, or today, is one of the future stars of our Blackbirds of Yule Christmas or holiday event, Jeffrey.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and I'm really excited because, as a lot of people who watch the channel a lot know, that I love Session Zero.
Nice. All right, so we had talked a little bit beforehand. I guess for those, this is the regular edition of the game here. Blackbirds is a Gothic Fantasy RPG set in a quasi post-apocalyptic, not really, it's not a post-apocalyptic in the process of the apocalypse, because the gods have been killed 2 years prior to the start of the campaign, and the world is sort of slowly going to hell, having been embroiled in a 12-year-long war, the War of Empty Thrones. And we're making Jeff's character in part because we've got coming up starting next week, actually, at the time of recording, the Blackbirds of Yule event, where we will be playing Blackbirds for a bunch of sessions between the 21st and the start of the new year. So let's see here. Just make sure the session's up and streaming. Here we go. All right. So then, Jeffrey has played a fair bit of Blackbirds so far, playing one who's on the path of bow and blades. But I'm interested to hear what character you're going to be making now. So, looking at page 41 of the core rulebook, it gives us the path that we need to follow to find and meet your Blackbird. What's the general character concept you have in mind for this guy or gal or character?
Okay, so the first question I have, before I decide 100%, is it says under primary attributes to roll 2d10 for each of the 7 primary attributes, adding 35 to the result. It doesn't really specify there. I don't know if it does somewhere else, whether that's you assign them or you roll them in order.
You roll them in order.
Okay, because then if we're going to do that, then the character is a little bit random, and so I don't necessarily want to commit too much to the concept until we roll, because I might change. I know I said I was going to play a doctor, but I think I only would if I rolled a decent intelligence, because I don't want to be trying to like heal people and fix their items if I'm an idiot, because I would just be hurting them and wrecking things.
Well, one of the things that we have been playing with those, I believe we've been swapping. You can swap one attribute for another attribute at the end of that, just like we do with AD&D. So that way,
if you want to do that, then I could go with the path that I was considering.
Yeah.
Okay, so the character concept, a little bit was this is what I'm thinking. You can chime in a bit. I'm planning on being at all of our sessions for this event.
Nice. Okay.
And so, in some ways, a little bit, I figured my character kind of ties together the story. I know each one's sort of a one-shot, but if he's there at each sort of story,
absolutely, yeah, then
he's a little bit of a thread of the of the game, so to speak. Not trying to make him a main character or anything, but just that he's sort of a reoccurring character.
Well, it gives a good spine on which to stitch all the rest of the adventures. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and so what I was thinking for the sort of background and whatnot is I'm thinking a slightly older character, like middle-aged for our world, but which makes you kind of old in medieval times. So like, 40-ish, sort of that age range.
Okay.
Someone who's lived a life and, has a bit of background in things. And I was thinking going the, what's the actual...
The path?
Thing called, the path. I can't remember the name. The one where you're like a healer and a fixer.
That is, what is it? The path of craft and...
Yeah, craft and...
Where is it here? They're only on like a...
Here, I got it.
Singular section.
Craft and expertise techniques.
Perfect.
And so, like, I was thinking that he's sort of drawn to keep alive and protect the blackbirds, like sort of find them and like, you know, like he's called to protect them. So like he's sort of there to heal and fix their items, get them going.
What do you think before Fate? So for those who are unfamiliar with Blackbirds, the way that one of the elements of the backstory of the setting is that when the last three gods to die were the three Norns, and when they died, like birds flying from taking flight from a falling tree. Little motes of fate fled out from the charred remains of Yggdrasil and embedded themselves in random mortals who now suddenly find themselves pulled into this tapestry of fate. And perhaps, certainly the plan is for them to change the world. Whether that means saving it or dooming it is another question. But it is a specific part of the in-universe explanation for why the characters are together and also why they are more exceptional than what the average person is. They can call on fate and fortune to save them at times. What do you think changed him? What was he doing before he became this shepherd of blackbirds? Or, what would you call someone who keeps the aviary?
Oh, yeah.
Because I think there's a word for someone.
I don't know what that word is.
Yeah, because there is a word for some. I don't have my phone with me.
Yeah.
There's a word for what someone who keeps birds. That is it. But I can't remember what the heck the phrase is. So we can look it up here. Let's see.
Do they just call you a bird keeper?
Let's see.
I think they just call themselves keepers.
Aviculture. Siticulture.
Interesting.
Yeah, ornithologist is someone who studies birds.
So there's sort of four different options for boons that I'm considering, and they all kind of make sense for the character and the direction. And they're interesting. And so I think that the answer to your question of like what was he doing before and what was the spark moment like would be affected by which of the four boons that I go with.
Okay. So let's start with this. Why don't we let's get some dice roll and generate your stats to start with.
Yeah,
I know it's out of order for this, but let's just get those.
Yeah, that just gives a feel for the character. I like it. So we roll 2d10, and you got to do it 7 times, right?
Yeah, 2d10 plus 35. And if you...
Oh, right, you might as well just add the... Right.
Yeah, you can just add it right in, so...
Yeah.
Go ahead. Actually, if you want, you can roll. I'll add in if you'd like.
Oh, okay.
I got your character sheet open anyway.
Yeah, okay. So in order... Combat. Here we go.
Woo, nice.
Not bad.
Okay, brawn.
And then brawn. Oh,
nice.
Not a wimp.
Agility. Nice.
Whoa, pretty agile.
Perception. Okay.
Not bad.
Intelligence. Here's the big one. Nice. 49.
Oh, not bad.
Willpower. 23.
Pretty good.
And fellowship. Nice. All right, pretty good. Yeah, good batch of stats there. All right. So then you can see that the sheet automatically calculates what your bonus is. You also will add in under the modifier. 3 of those will get +1 to the bonus, and 3 of them will get -1 to the bonus, assuming you're going human.
Wait, did you type those in?
I did.
For some reason, it didn't update.
Close the character sheet.
I'm gonna close it and reopen it. That's interesting. What?
Are they in there now for you? There you go.
Main. Oh yeah, there we go.
Okay, perfect. Yes, sorry. Are you? You said you're going human?
Yes,
Okay,
I'm gonna make him a human.
We can make 1 fate point for you right to start, and if we can open up the editing again. So not the advances, but the modifiers. You're going to add +1 to the bonus for 3 of them and -1 to the bonus for 3 of them. We learned last night what impact that low bonuses can have. Holy smokes.
Yeah, I think I actually rolled 4 on all of them.
Yeah.
I did.
Yep.
Okay, so I don't have any 3s right now. So I'm basically making 3 of them 5 and 3 of them 3.
Exactly. And then one of them remains at a 4.
Yeah, okay. So intelligence, obviously I should raise.
Yep.
So how do you do that? Oh, you bonus advance?
No. Under the modifier. Advances are things that you purchase. Modifiers are things you get from your ancestry.
Oh, I see there. Okay, modifier. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, +1 intelligence.
Let me see. Take a look at the craft ones to see what I wonder.
I think then you would definitely fellowship is a good one if he's sort of this leader person, gathering people. And then tradecraft, that's the fixing thing.
Tradecraft is fixing, yeah.
Yeah, so then willpower, I guess, would be the third one.
Okay.
And since he's older, I mean, I like that. Then that, like, just lowering his his ability, like his 2 physical ones. So, like, let's lower his brawn and his agility.
Okay.
Because he's, middle-aged.
Ooh, and where's the last one go? Perception or combat?
Yeah, that's a tough one, right?
Combat is so perception bonus goes to range in this game. It goes to range for what do you call it? Range for missile weapons. It's a tiebreaker for initiative in combat, and combat bonus adds just to damage on most weapons. It also, for targeted attacks, it's combat bonus that's added regardless of whatever kind of weapon you're using.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go with, I know combat, like he's going to be not great in combat, but I think that's the one. Like, I think I want him to still be okay. Because if I look at perception, it's got survival and awareness, like things I don't want to take a penalty to.
Mm-hmm. Well, you wouldn't take a penalty to them. Remember, the bonus only comes into play when you're determining like contested outcomes or things like that. In combat, the way perception plays is tiebreaker for initiative and determining range for ranged weapons.
Right. Yeah, let's go with combat.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of people will be playing more combat-focused characters.
Yep. Okay.
So let's just lower combat.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Then, so you've got your... Let's see here. I added your Bane in there, your mortal Bane.
Yeah.
But then you get to pick a boon. One human boon. So, and there's a lot of boons.
So if I hit close on the attribute thing to stop editing?
Hit close, it'll save all your selections, yeah. There you go.
There we go.
Okay. Yeah. Then you're going to add your boon under traits and talents.
Okay, yeah.
And which one are you thinking?
Okay, so this is where... So there's 4. This is kind of maybe like the only longer conversation option, I think, here.
Mm-hmm.
So one that's interesting and could play out kind of fun on like a little series of one-shots, I think, is the Godling one.
Yes.
Because there's sort of an opportunity maybe on like each session. I won't spoil it for the viewers by reading them all out. Me and you know what they are, but there are like different powers that trigger based on the different gods. And it would be kind of interesting if like different ones happened in different sessions or whatever.
Sure.
So that one's kind of interesting that way. And it kind of ties some of the storyline and some of the mythos of the world into our game. Mm-hmm. So I like that one. Hands of the Maker is good if he's sort of a craftsman, and like that could have been his history before.
The signet quality is pretty awesome because I believe that's the one that doesn't deteriorate on its own.
And I mean, that could be like also a little bit of our storyline of our game. Like I could be not only traveling around and like protecting these guys, but like equipping them, like meeting them, getting to know them, and making a an item for them. So
well,
to
you
speak.
could,
Like
if you're older as well, you could be the one who, like you could have been a castle forger or something like the blacksmith at a castle, or one of the lords who fought during the Betrayers' War. Like, 'cause remember, we're picking up at 12 years after a civil war has been tearing Elkford apart. So your
right, maybe the castle I worked at is gone.
Could be, or you just walked away one day.
Yeah,
and that could have consequences down the road as well. But
yeah, so that one's interesting.
That one's interesting. Yep.
And then there's nobility. I mean, that's also an interesting one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It would introduce some of the elements of obligations and benefactors.
Yep.
Or patronage,
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's called. It's like maybe the least interesting to me. And then the last one is a scholar.
Okay.
Which is very interesting because it
all intelligence tests are flipped to succeed.
Yeah, like he's a learned person, but like there's a couple of really powerful intelligence rolls that's great, like healing and folklore, which are used quite a lot.
You could be sort of the traveling mentor, like the quasi Gandalf.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So there's sort of so if I take out nobility, because it's kind of the least interesting, there's 3 interesting choices there.
Mm-hmm.
And they all kind of fit with the character concept.
Oh, this is cool too. The scholar also allows you once between rekindlings to barter with the Court of Ignorance. That's one of the outsider courts that the Theurgs deal with or bargain with to get their spells or vitiations. You could get information that would be otherwise impossible to gain, but you would have to perform a reckoning. That is when that's normally what either Theurgs or Nephilim are forced to do. So it adds an element of information at a cost that could be interesting.
Yeah, and it's an interesting reckoning because I always have to destroy some piece of knowledge, which is like something he'd probably be very against. So I like that there's some tension there. So they're all good. So I could just roll a D3 and just pick one based on randomness, or if you had a preference for one.
I don't have a preference, but what I'd challenge you to do is figure which one fits most for what you want. Because I think you probably in your gut know which one fits best with the character that you want to play.
They're like 3 different directions to take the character that I think are all interesting.
Which ones have because there was one for sure that you were a little so-so about. The nobility one.
Yeah, I got rid of it already.
So nobility's gone.
I ditched it.
You've got Godling, Hands of the Maker, or Scholar. Yeah. So, and it sounds to me like Godling is just an interesting feature that you thought might be neat to highlight as opposed to something intrinsic to the character. Is that a fair characterization?
Absolutely. It's like a part of the... But it also fits the storyline of the character who's going around and like protecting and meeting all of these blackbirds.
Yeah.
Because if he's sort of got this spark of all the different gods in him, he's like sort of this remnants of the old thing, right? Like he's...
Yeah. So here's the upside with that is, or with adopting that one, is that with that one, you've got a very light touch, semi-light touch, a mystical quality to you. It also allows you to fill a couple of holes, I think that might otherwise, like you reduced your brawn bonus, which means that your damage threshold is lower. Is a 3. And remember how easy it was to injure Gary's character last night.
Right, there's the one ability.
Ouroboros,
I said, I won't spoil them until they come into play. But yeah, that one is pretty powerful.
Yeah,
for sure.
And there's another one that gives you a pretty useful versatility thing for use in combat that wouldn't directly involve you getting involved in combat.
Yeah, and the Corvus one fits a lot with sort of the with one of the techniques that I was looking at.
So,
which is the what's it called? Yeah, I think that one's kind of very interesting. I mean, flip to succeed. I feel like choosing the scholar is doing the metagaming. Is like is picking
There's
the
nothing
one
wrong with that either.
like it's the one
But-
that gives me the best mechanical bonus to the character for what I see him doing a lot, which is healing the other characters.
If you, the way that you described it, of him interacting with the other, like being a vessel for the other gods and shepherding the agents of fate of the others, that sounds like a great way to have a backbone for the thing. Also, it'd be, I mean, I love the idea of them meeting you in the burned out remains of your keep as you're having conversations with the dead.
Yeah, totally. Okay, let's do it. Let's do Godling.
Okay.
It's fun.
So-
and I like it. It sets sort of a theme for the character.
Yep. Why don't you... Well, in which case, I suspect Stone is not his last name. It's something he's picked
No.
up. So why don't you just add in, under traits and talents, just add Boon, Godling, and I'll cut and paste the rules information after.
So, right, make it other, right?
For this one is a
talent
trait,
or
actually.
trait? Oh, it's a trait.
Yeah, this was a trait. Trait is an inborn thing. A talent is something that can be swapped out in Blackbirds. So for those listening at home, there isn't a Blackbirds sheet for Roll20 yet. We are using the Zweihander one, or the updated Zweihander one, because it's close enough.
Okay, I'll put Boon, Godling. Source is Ancestry.
Yep. And
And
I'll cut
leave
and
it
paste
blank,
the,
and
yeah.
you can...
The description and the other thing in there. All right.
Cool.
Okay, so that has been decided then.
I like that one. That one will have fun. I'll try to make an effort to trigger all of the different ones during the course of the different adventures to...
Cool.
So people can see different ones. Maybe I'll base them too off of who's around, and if someone is a follower of one of those
Yeah.
gods, it's kind of interesting.
Okay, so the secondary attributes the sheet will calculate for us. Blackbird's known language are based on their intelligence bonus, but the thing is, I don't know where there is a list of languages in here, unless.
Yeah, it's almost more like having them kind of come out in gameplay. I know that that's like a cheaty system, but when it comes to languages in my game, I usually like to
See what
make them pick a few, but then let them come out in gameplay. Like, okay, your character knows 3 extra languages, and then it's like, oh, you meet somebody and they're speaking this other language. Do you have a reason why your character would know that?
I don't think. And it's not your intelligence bonus you get for other languages. It's based on it because it is on page. What is your intelligence bonus?
5.
5. Okay, so you have 2 languages.
Oh, okay. I mean, whatever common.
Yeah, it's the
one
local.
there
It's
is.
like the Elkland, patois, and.
I mean, unless you have one in mind, because I don't, like I said, I don't really know from the list or anything.
Yeah,
or like
I'll figure
one
out
that
what
would be-
we're gonna apply it.
To me, it would be something that would be connected to healing or medicine or something like that, if there is one.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, there are scholars. Let me think about it. I think it would be.
Yeah.
It's a place called Corbel. Hold on. Yeah, Corbel. Let's see here. You could put down Elklander as your. I'm not sure if there is a place to list languages, or is it here?
I've never noticed it in the times we've played.
Yeah, unless it's under. Here we go. Languages under background.
Okay.
You can put Elklander, like elk, like the animal, Lunder, and I'll put this other one in.
Oh, where it says Dwarven here? Okay.
Yeah.
Elklander. Corblish. Okay, cool.
Okay. Okay. Then maximum
It's
skill.
funny. I find that sorry, just an observation about languages in games. I feel like the European players see it as much more of a thing, and the North American players, like, when you're from North America, it's like everyone speaks English, so you just like you don't think of language the same way. But when you live in Europe, you travel, it's such a smaller place, and you're crossing borders so easily, and then you do, and everybody speaks a completely different language. Like you're in a foreign.
Well, so and you have more too. Like it's all my Dutch friends that I had when I was living in Scotland. Like every single one of them spoke 4 languages. Right. So different levels of proficiency with each, but it's really.
It's an interesting difference of how much it matters, I think, as a player to North American players and European players.
Okay. So then we got that done. So this, as you said, you're following the path of craft and expertise.
Yeah. Okay.
So the unlocked, let's see here. I think, there is a way to mark these not as unlocked. Now, the one thing you need to do is take a look at the character sheet at the back of the book, because the skills are named slightly differently in this than they are in here. I'm going to collapse that for you.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah, because
I never noticed that.
Like Blackbird, for instance, I'll move this out of the way here. Blackbirds, for instance, only has 1 melee skill, 1 range skill, whereas Zweihander has multiple ones. Warfare is under combat in Blackbirds, whereas it's under, I think, intelligence in this, or in Zweihander. But let me see here. I think.
Okay, yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So handle animal doesn't exist in Blackbird, so you can just have it as handle. Treat handle animal as your handle vehicle.
Okay, so unlocked skills. That just means I can spend points to increase them.
No, what it means, anything that is unlocked. So your unlocked skills cost 1 RP, 1 reward point. You have 9 reward points to develop your character.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
Unlocked skills cost 1 RP for the 1 skill rank you can get at this tier.
Okay, yeah.
Unlocked bonuses cost 1 RP per rank. So for you, that's intelligence bonus and perception bonus.
Okay, so that's how Adelaisa had an extra brawn or combat
because
or something.
I bought that from her. Yeah.
Okay.
And
I see. So if I wanted to buy an intelligence bonus IB, it would cost me 1 of my points.
Exactly. Your talents for tier 1 cost you 1 RP. Yeah. Techniques from your path cost 2 RP. Yeah. And then weapon techniques cost 1 RP, but you need to have a minimum of 1 in your melee skill before, or in melee or range skill before you can do that, and you're not. Those are not unlocked for you.
Oh, so I'd have to spend 2.
You'd have to spend 2 to get 1 rank in melee, and
then 1 more to get. Yeah. So it would actually cost me 3 total.
3 total. I mean, what you'd get is you'd get training in one of those combat skills as well, but that's the prerequisite. You don't have to start with that. Like, I mean, there are lots of characters who don't start with weapon techniques. It's just, if you do want to access that, bear in mind that you need to have a certain level of training in them.
Okay.
So techniques cost 2 for your path. 1 for talents cost 1 for your path for tier 1. And then locked skills and locked advances cost 2 each.
Okay.
And we're going to ignore patronage. I want you guys to start broke.
Right. So there is a technique that I thought was interesting as a medical character that does give you a combat ability. It doesn't work against everything. So it's thanatology.
Craft, here we go.
The Blackbird has studied the process and effects of death and decay on the human body. The prerequisite is 1 level of crafting or whatever.
Exactly, 1 step on the path.
And there is a combat action called anatomical precision that costs 2 action points. and it is effect: make a heal test at -20 for the Blackbird to attack a mortal. If it hits, it always causes a moderate injury. So it just basically it's an attack that just causes injuries instead of damage, which I figured gives him an interesting combat action. I mean, obviously it also gives you a combat action to extinguish it, and sorry, that's a non-combat.
Yeah.
But that's like a way of using the character. I mean, at least against mortal enemies. Doesn't work on immortal.
So if you want to grab that, that's 2. Do you have a talent you want to take as well?
Okay, I'm going to go to the talents. So, because I should figure out the points. I need at least 1 technique and 1 talent, pretty much.
If you want to have, those are the fun things that make your character interesting. So, minimum that, and then if you have a second technique, we talked before we went live, but all the pre-gens from the quick start and all the characters we played with so far have had 1 talent and 2 techniques, so you've got something to swap out to, just because it gives more versatility to your character, and especially if you're a healer.
Are you going to reward us RPs during the game?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I could always buy another technique, after the first or second session or whatever. If we're going to get 1 point per, by the end of the second session, I could buy a second technique.
Yeah. You could also buy bonuses afterwards, too.
I see. It's the same cost.
It's the same cost. The costs don't change after the first session, and just the advantage to having the 2 techniques is, think of how many sessions you guys have swapped out one for the other mid-fight or mid-session because there was situations changed. This is a more optimal choice for it.
Right.
Like last night when Gary's character switched from the bullwhip technique to using Prowler. Because okay, now it would be good for us to line up and all be doing this instead.
I guess there is another there is another one that does have some combat actions too.
Well, even the Sawbones one.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking at. It's got some interesting.
And bleeding is no joke in this game. Remember the cut to that guy's throat. Right.
Well, Adelaza was bleeding out in the one game we played.
Yep.
So I guess but that just by doing that, I only have 5 points left, right?
By doing that, you would have 4 points left. Because 1 point for the first, 1 point for a talent, and 4 points for 2 techniques.
Oh, right. I see what you're saying. Yes. Yeah. And then if I spent 1 point to raise my intelligence bonus, I could take 3 skills.
Yep.
Okay, that's maybe a good place to start.
Yeah, because
So that's Sawbones, Thanatology. I need to pick an expert. I need to pick a talent. I mean, unless I don't see a talent that makes sense, then maybe I want a 4th skill. Okay, so the expert, because the talents are Cartographer, which isn't bad. Especially if I'm moving around, finding these people and whatever. And I guess the other ones are mainly repair.
Yeah, the more irons in the fire is a useful one if you're intending on being the one that can maintain people's gear, because it allows you to do an extra crafting endeavor.
Right, because normally you can just do 1.
Yeah.
And then,
Or Eyes of the Maker.
Which basically lets you fix 1 level no matter what.
Yep.
Which isn't bad.
Hammer's Song lets you get up on the peril condition track, too.
I know, that one's kind of interesting too, right? You sort of, while you're fixing people's items, you go into this very trance-like state where it helps you with your peril, which is kind of interesting. So you can kind of always calm yourself and get yourself back to baseline, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is some interesting ones.
Because the peril condition is the thing that would impact you, only because peril conditions are the ones that force you to ignore skill levels.
Right. Okay, so I guess there is some choices on the talents.
Yeah, there's a lot of great choices in the game. It definitely makes character creation a really fun exercise, even though you're only starting with 9.
Yeah, I don't know about more irons in the fire. I just feel like that's a great talent for like a long-term campaign where we're like continuing session after session, the same people, the same items, and so like keeping people's items fixed. I do still want to highlight that during our sessions, but I see that like I'll be playing with different people every session, and
yeah,
you know what I mean. There might be less opportunity to use that. So I think either Eyes of the Maker or Hammer Song is more interesting. Let's go with Hammer Song.
Here's what I'm going to throw out there. Eyes of the Maker works without rolling dice.
Right.
Only because the dice have been known to betray you at times.
It is true.
So
and I still roll, but only to get a critical or sublime success. Any other outcome I ignore. So I can't fail. I can just do good. I mean, I kind of like that. I mean, he's like, yeah, he's guaranteed to fix something, essentially. I think that, let's take that, actually, because you know what? That helps to endure the other players to the character.
Yep.
Like, I know how frustrating it was, like, oh, my longsword broke, or, you know, my right?
Yeah.
My whip is wrecked. It's like, that was my character's cool signature item.
Wasn't Gita's spear shattered 2 times ago we played? Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, guaranteed the ability to, like, fix people's stuff is, like, something that would endear their character to mine. Like, oh, yeah, I like having Alaric around. He always got my stuff back in
Yep,
action.
Absolutely.
Okay, so then that's...
Okay, so maybe put down...
done.
So go, if you add to your next, add the talent, just put the name Eyes of the Maker.
Talent. Eyes of the Maker.
And then...
Okay, that's talent.
And then your techniques.
And the source, I guess I could put...
path. You could put down...
Path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The path of craft and expertise.
Okay, so...
I'll cut and paste the rest of that stuff. And then your 2 techniques.
So edit.
What
do you put those in as? Talents?
Put them as other.
Other. Okay.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't, to be honest, it doesn't make a difference. Like, I don't think it even displays differently, but...
other. Okay, so then it is... Technique.
Yeah.
Do you want me to put technique or just put the name?
You just put the
it?
name either. Which are you taking Sawbones and Thanatology?
Yes.
Okay.
Sawbones. And
the neat thing with Sawbones is if you get enough. I have to double check and see. I know that the distance between tiers in this game are wider than they are in Zweihander or Flames of Freedom. I think they are. But if you reach level 2 or tier 2 in this, that doubles in. So, like, if you decide to take another step in that, the Blackbird heals a number of damage levels and one equal to how many steps down the path you have.
Right. Yes. Whenever they have that little symbol in their ability, they're very powerful.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So that's his triage ability you're talking about.
So that is, you've got your 5. You got 4 more to spend. Or did you add yourself an advantage or advance for intelligence?
I didn't yet. So what is the? So let's just be clear. If it's worth doing that to 6 or training another skill, maybe we can just talk about that real short.
So the intelligence bonus adds in some cases to, like to reduce for healing. I know it did come up. If you choose to have someone remain bedridden during their recovery, the intelligence bonus reduces the number of days it takes for them to recover. So, for instance, but the thing is you're at what, IB4 right now or 5?
5 already. Yeah.
You're already at 5. You got to be at 7 to hit the next tier of significantly reducing. So you could take that bonus as a first step towards it. Or
then I think for a one shot or a series of one shots, I'm better to have one more skill that we can bring into use.
Yeah, and especially if it is special skills. I saw education is on your list. Education is a special skill.
Okay.
Heal is a special skill. Tradecraft is a special skill.
Yeah, so I definitely want tradecraft and heal. And you said education is a special one.
Education is a special skill, and what that allows you, that's folklore is knowledge of sort of the stuff you get from traveling and whatnot. Education is learning about some of the more, esoteric aspects. It could be supernatural stuff you learn about, or it could be just, any kind of things that isn't accessible to someone living their, common life, I guess.
Okay, so if I go in here and I go edit.
Yep.
It's actually a tough choice, so I'm going to go apprentice level for heal and for tradecraft for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have, because there's quite a few. There's education's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like navigation makes a lot of sense.
Handle animal is separate. I was wrong about that. Handle animal is separate from a handle vehicle.
And then there is also, there's scrutinize, which is, helps you to figure out people and
Someone's
who they are, right? And
yep.
Exactly. And when I'm trying to find these other blackbirds, I don't want to get duped.
Mm-hmm.
Strategy, which is also interesting. So there's
strategy. Let's talk about what the actual game effect is of that, just so you can.
Let's look at them maybe, and then I can decide. Because they're listed under skills. Then you can...
strategy's under page 107. It's employed by blackbirds to plan operations of all sorts to achieve the best results with the least resistance. It lets one understand the tactics utilized in battle in order to strategically deploy armies and to array siege engines against mobile or static enemies, as well as erect appropriate defenses.
I probably don't need that one.
Yeah.
So maybe I want to go education and scrutinize? Or navigation and scrutinize? Scrutinize represents a blackbird's ability to sense motives and underlying intentions in others.
Yeah, navigation is so scrutinize is a common skill, navigation is special, education is special. I'm not sure if that's an effect. So if you're not trained in it, you flip to fail.
Right. Okay, let me just read education. Folklore we've used quite a lot too. I know it's not special, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Let's go with education just because it kind of fits the character, the history. He's knowledgeable. Okay, so if I'm trained in education,
then
the last one. You said navigation was special?
Navigation is special as well. Scrutinize is not.
Right, but it doesn't necessarily tell the whole story.
No, all it means is that if you're making a navigation test, then it would be flip to fail if you're not trained.
Right. Let's just do it. Let's take navigation.
Nice. Okay. So you're going to be, not only in the maintaining gear, maintaining people department, you're also going to be an extremely helpful source of information.
Yeah, I like that. So he's education, healing, navigation, and tradecraft. There we go.
Okay. So next, your trappings. You don't start with much.
No.
So you have, RPs are spent. Your trappings.
Had a list on the...
Yeah, it's on the actual path itself. There you go, page 79. You have a bottle of rot gut. You have 3 clean bandages, 1 dose of salmiac, 1 dose of theriac, 1 melee weapon at patronage 1 or 2, and simple attire.
Okay, so bottle of rot.
I do like that on that page they specifically call out, of special note, this path grants access to a variety of techniques and talents that can stave off the more grueling wear and tear that the flock will face. It is wise not to underestimate how helpful a healer or smith can be in times when one can't simply rush back to a safe haven. Anna agrees.
Oh, I think this game does such a great job of making the path of craft and expertise an interesting character choice.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to highlight, I mean, the sessions we've done so far, we've been completely missing this character type from our group.
Yep.
And so I wanted to play this so that we could try it out and see how it really feels at the table, but also highlight some of the aspects of this game that are interesting.
Absolutely. It's got, I was talking to James after our Witcher session today, our PF2 Witcher session today, and I was saying it's my absolute favorite implementation of gear, maintenance mechanic. It's very easy, it's very intuitive, and it has a mechanical presence in the game. Like, there's a goddamn reason you want to keep your swords maintained and keep your sword sharp and such. And having a character like this is going to really, stand out from everyone, because your absence will be direly felt when they're not able to, to easily just maintain their swords or spears or armor or whatever. Right?
Okay, so I have one melee weapon. So really, I just got to choose my melee.
So the thing is,
weapon.
the melee weapon is of patronage. Remember, patronage 1 or 2, which means it's going to be a fairly modest one. And I think weapons are on page 223. So patronage 1 or 2 are things like a bullwhip, a cudgel, a fire-hardened spear, a garrote, an improvised weapon, a stool, I guess. Peasant flail, a sap, a shiv, a staff, a torch, and that's it.
I was kind of imagining that he has, I was calling him a doctor, so it'd be interesting if he had something like a shiv. But it's not you when you use the word shiv, you imagine sort of a makeshift stabbing tool.
Yeah.
But I like to imagine that he's got something more akin to a scalpel, like some kind of really small and sharp, and delicate blade that he can also use for, cutting things apart or determining how they died.
Yep.
Stuff like that. Because there is another technique that if we ever got to the point of sort of the higher level ones, there's one called it's like the level 3 one, I think. Or where did I see this?
Was it tier 3 in your in the craft and expertise?
Oh. Where did I read about this thing?
So this is page 129, maybe? That's where the tier 3 things are. Gift of the Salamander, Guild Artificer, Physiker Inanimus.
Oh. I thought there was one, maybe it was a different class that I was reading, and just
different path?
Mixed it up. Yeah, different path. I thought there was something about studying the dead and recreating how they died. Oh, maybe it's a technique?
Isn't that what your Thanatos one? Thanatology, that's death in many shapes. By examining a dead body and location where it was killed, you can intuit and recreate the details of their death in your mind. That's what you got. Yeah, you got that. And additionally, education tests used in the deduction of crimes are at plus 10.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's the one I was talking about then.
Yeah, so you've already got that.
Already have it. Yeah. So that's what I was imagining, the ability to actually
So that is great. So you got your shiv, yeah, and then we can go, if you go to combat, that's where you can add that in.
Yeah, okay. So
And if you edit the weapons, you should be able to add that in.
Weapon, edit, add. Don't have any weapons. Okay. I see. There we go. I'm going to put scalp. I'm going to call it scalpel, but then I'll put shiv in brackets so we know.
And then,
just for flavor.
Yep, that works for me. And then, okay, so it is, it doesn't matter if you got martial or the other. Change the bonus. I know it says in the rulebook CB, but it's a finesse weapon, so it uses AB instead of CB.
Okay, so switch it to AB.
Yep. It's one-handed, bladed, don't need
simple
to worry about...
melee?
It doesn't matter. Remember, in this game...
Oh, it doesn't matter, yeah.
There's one kind of melee. What we've been doing is adding all skill levels to martial melee and martial range, so everyone's got it set to the same.
Yeah.
And then your qualities are fast, finesse, and offhanded. And offhand. Fast means it is minus 10 to parry it. Finesse means it uses AB instead of CB for damage. And offhand means if you have another weapon in the other hand, having the shiv gives +1 to damage with that other weapon.
Yeah. So it's bladed. The distance is engaged, I'm assuming?
That's not
or
really
whatever,
that's not really a thing in this. It is in Firehand, not in this game.
And then is there a damage or something? Oh.
Damage 1 fury dice is always that, and it's adding your AB to that. And then otherwise it's good. You're good. You got it all entered in. Okay. Go ahead and click on that, break that sucker in.
Let's go, scalpel.
Oh, 78.
Yeah. Oh well.
It's not a fail, so that's good. Not a crit fail.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't expect him to be like. I imagine him trying to help the other characters shine in combat more than.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, this game. So another thing about this game, it has a lot of combat actions.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting ones. So I'm gonna definitely read through them and understand them a little better before, so that I can take some of the more interesting ones.
Yeah, it's when you can always, even if you're shit at combat, you won't be able to attack as many times, but you always can aim. Each AP you spend gives you +10, and you can spend fortune points to get AP.
Right. Well, and I also do have that combat action under the one that lets
the heal
me try
thing,
and,
minus 20.
Yeah, try and injure
speaking
them.
of which, let's hold on. I'm going to quickly here. There you go. I just set it so it'll ask you.
I might change the last name.
Okay. No, it sounds good. Alaric Stone sounds great. Yeah. Do you have an illustration in mind?
I don't yet.
Okay. Just load one by... One thing I do love about these character sheets is that little circle at the top left. I love that they put the illustration in there.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a cool little bit of coding. Otherwise, like your pronouns, your age, your archetype, I think speaks to your path. Otherwise, like archetype and profession and culture don't come in this. It's something from Zweihander. Otherwise, you're good to go here. Dodge and parry are 49, which is pretty good for a character intended to be a non-combatant. Your damage threshold is a 3 currently, so you will most certainly want to be cautious of when you get into fights, or at least let the more armored folks take the lead on it.
Absolutely. Well, but there is the one thing that he has.
Yes, I could start him off with a 6. Yeah.
We'll
so
save it for like in play.
Yeah, and I'll do that so I don't forget. I'll do the uploading of the other details about your character afterwards. If you want to also, this is not something just really for the Discord server, but if you want to introduce who your character is on that thread as well, that'll give everyone else an idea who you're playing and what kind of space you're filling up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, and he's got lots of great place to develop as well.
Agreed. Yeah.
I'm going to create. Hold on here. I'm going to create a separate folder for the pre-gens and the Blackbirds. We got Blackbirds of Yule. You and Gary are in there, and Sean. I don't know if Sean's going to... He's away for much of the holidays, but And I don't know if Dave's making his own character or if he's playing Gita, but we will find out. Okay, so I think your character's together.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Good stuff. Yeah. You like
Turned out pretty much exactly what I was hoping for.
Nice. Yeah, it's great, and your stats are really good too.
Yeah, we didn't even have to swap anything around. The rolls did it just right for us.
Perfect. So, and like a little more than an hour.
Yeah,
outstanding.
Kind of what I thought.
All right.
Can't wait to actually play. Wednesday's our first game?
Wednesday's the first session. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
I got to get a couple of I got a couple of pre-gens ready between now and then in case others are going to play, but I'll do that afterwards. Perfect. So then, for those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us in creating the latest Blackbird to join our flock, Alaric Stone. As is always the case, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns regarding the session, the campaign, or the game we're playing, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. There's also a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, where all of us are active, and there are channels there dedicated to this game, this campaign, and every other game we run on the channel, as well as a ton of other great, there's a ton of great people over there. You are more than welcome to join us. There's plenty of stuff. I don't need to go into it on this. If this is your first video you're watching from the channel, then lots of. I suspect that's probably not the case. So. Lots of great people over there, but you are more than welcome to join us over there. There's also a link down below to the Noble Knight, our friends at Noble Knight Games, the preeminent retailer of hard to find and out of print RPGs in North America. The newly unionized store, recognized voluntarily by the owners, has a wide selection of RPGs, board games, and card games, as well as an amazing selection of out-of-print and hard-to-find games. And if they don't have in stock what you're looking for as far as out-of-print games are concerned, you can add it to the want list, and they'll let you know when it comes in stock, and then you can make a purchase. If you purchase $10 or more through the website, be sure to enter the code MUSINGS, all in caps, and we will... and you'll save yourself 10% on your purchase. If you're listening to this at a later time, be sure to come back and check out a more recent video and see what the code has changed to, because it may have changed it has changed over time. In addition, there's a link down below to the Heroes Save Villages. That's a charity fundraising campaign we run on the channel. It benefits the SOS Children's Villages International, a really terrific organization active in over 130 countries, benefiting over 80,000 orphan and abandoned children, including ongoing relief efforts in Ukraine and the surrounding countries at the time of recording. All donations through that link go directly to SOS Children's Villages International. None of it goes to the channel or any other middleman. It just goes to benefit those kids. And as a small way of saying thank you, next month in January 2023, we'll be having our next charity raffle. And the grand prize for that raffle will be a copy of the Beadle and Grimm's Platinum Edition Spelljammer Adventures in Space. The copy you see behind me, for those keen viewers who have spotted it, that is my copy. I purchased a copy through them, but they have very generously donated a copy to serve as our grand prize in our next charity raffle. And we'll also be playing some more Spelljammer sessions with it. We've played 2 so far, and we're going to continue playing some up until the time of the raffle. It's a really, really great box set. It has an amazing amount of stuff that's in there. The box there is only a quarter of what's actually in the overall box itself, so tons of great stuff. And if you don't win that, there's still a ton of other great prizes as well, including it's a chainmail dice bag made by our resident armorsmith Dave, a bunch of other stuff from the Dungeon Musings Red Bubble Shop, and some other stuff I've got sitting in my guest room that has been donated by other folks. So lots of great stuff, and best of all donations go directly to help out some kids who could really use some help. Last thing I'll say is a huge thank you to Jeffrey for joining me today to create his Blackbird. We got an illustration for him too now. Let's see.
Yeah,
here, I don't know if that, it's set to hold on here.
Oh yeah, I might have to mess around.
I don't know why it's doing that now. No, it was doing that earlier on today. They've changed something else on the thing, so it's automatically making people or making the illustrations. Here, let me do this. That's a great illustration.
Yeah, I think it looks good.
Yeah. I'll figure out how to get it to display properly, but that's, it's because it's, there we go. It's a boat. Right, I think. Great stuff.
Thank you to whoever random person on the internet drew that.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So then for those listening at home, thank you once again. We hope that we enjoyed our hour-long voyage to put together yet another Blackbird to join our flock. And we'll be kicking off the Blackbirds of Yule event, starting our sessions. There's about 6 or 7 sessions we have between December 21st and the end of the year on December 31st. And it's going to be a series of great one-shots with different characters. There's going to be an overarching story with it as well. It should be a lot of fun. And at the end of it, Ryan Vernier, the author of Blackbirds, has very generously donated a set of the Blackbirds dice, which I have a copy from my, Servant of the Gods edition. And they're fucking awesome, and we'll give those away, and we'll talk about how you get your name entered to win those. You don't need to watch all the sessions; you just need to watch one of the sessions, and you'll need to do something in chat. But otherwise, until then, we hope that you enjoyed this session, and until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.